What's up everyone, welcome back to Saint Seiya Awakening. We got a new character last week and that can only mean one thing. We're gonna do the full review today. We're gonna look at all of the details for Capricorn Shura with his surplus armor. That includes his Cosmo, his abilities, his weaknesses, and also the teams we can use him with, because in his case particularly, he is one of those units that has a very limited pool of good friends. Outside of those characters, it's actually very hard to make him work. Anyway, let's get started because we also have an amazing demonstration fight for you today. As always, we're going to start with the skills, and the first one is called Underworld Blade Strike. It's a simple individual physical attack that's going to deal a little bit of damage, but it also has a chance to apply bleed. That chance starts at only 20%, but can go to 100% with skill ups. As you can see from my levels, that is extremely important for him. Now, bleed in this game acts as a sort of poison. It's a debuff that's going to remain in the enemy, and we can accumulate up to 5, and depending on how many of those bleeds we have, when that enemy's turn comes, he's going to receive automatic damage, just like poison, let's say in RPGs. Now, the scale of the damage is what's really important with bleed, because it goes from 1 to 6 to 15 to 31 to 57% of the target's max HP. That is an insane amount of damage. Shura, combined with his best friends, can do those 5 stacks easily. The second skill is going to be called Underworld Sacred Blade. It is a very costly skill. This thing is 3 energy, but it's going to attack the target 4 times, each one dealing a certain amount of damage. For example, on skill level 5, that's 100%, so the maximum multiplier is 400%, which is kind of meh. But if the target that we're hitting already has a bleed applied, then we're gonna launch one more final attack, which has a huge multiplier of 700. These two things combined then make up for 1100% physical damage. The second effect of this skill is that it prevents revives. This thing works with passive revives, like for example Gemini Cannon. It also works against Cosmo, like Rising Dragon Teeth and Tree of Resurrection, and also for skills, for example an Ophiuchus revive or a Saori revive. What it doesn't prevent is ghosts. If we kill someone like Shion Sapuri or Athena or Ophiuchus or the Divine Cow, that ghost will remain, which is kind of a shame. I wish it would get rid of it. Anyway, if this attack doesn't kill with that massive multiplier, then it's going to leave a mark on the target, and that makes the target impossible to revive for the next 2 rounds. And that's really good because somebody else can kill it and that target cannot revive. Lastly, if the attack does kill the enemy, then Shura is going to use it again for free, no energy cost. But the condition is that there has to be an enemy with bleed. As long as there's one other enemy that he has bleed, then he can cast it. If there's several enemies with bleed, then he's going to choose the one with the lowest HP. Obviously, this is so strong that the extra attack can only be procced once. If we kill the first target and we kill the second one, we're not gonna attack a third one. Up next, we have the first of his passives, which is called Underworld Blade Slash. It's a very simple skill. This thing is an AoE attack that happens automatically, but it only happens at the end of even rounds. That's even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. The attack has an extremely low multiplier, but it does get a bonus if there's a lot of enemies with bleed. For every enemy unit that has a bleed, no matter how many stacks, they just have to have at least one, then he's gonna get this additional multiplier that starts at 10% but can go up to 40. Since there's 6 enemies, if all of them have bleed, then that comes out to 240% extra multiplier on top of the 100. At that point, it gets okay, but it's still not an extreme amount of damage. To cap it off then, his second passive is going to be Underworld Will, and this is the skill that makes him combine amazingly with other units that can apply bleed. Anytime he applies bleed, or one of his allies does, that unit is gonna get to move again. Now, the units that can apply bleed in the game are gonna be obviously Shura. There's Divine Doko, which we've been waiting for Shura to come out to get his full potential. There's also the Athena Exclamation, the regular old Milo we've had since day 1, and the Sanctuary Commander, which nobody's gonna use. Anyway, this skill gives our allies a second movement, but each ally can only move 1 extra time, and this doesn't combine with other double turn mechanics. For example, if we give somebody a double turn with Hashun, even if we don't apply bleed with the first movement to trigger Shura's double turn, we're still not gonna get an extra turn if we apply bleed with the second one. There's also a limit to the amount of units that can get double turns every round. On skill level 1, only one of our allies can do it, and Shura counts himself if he gets a double turn, while on skill level 5, there can be 3 units with double turn. This means the maximum number of allies with bleed mechanics we want to bring in a fight is going to be 3. The fourth one, if he applies bleed, he's not going to move again. The second effect of this passive is that any teammate that does apply bleed is going to acquire the Spectre Blade. This is a buff that lets that ally or Shura himself turn damage into HP. If that shield happens to exceed the max HP of the unit when his turn comes, then instead of getting more shield because they can't, they're gonna get a lifesteal bonus. That thing starts at 10%, but on skill level 5, our allies are going to steal 30%. That is an insane amount, and it makes the bleed team really hard to kill. As long as we can keep him healed, and hello, Saori with her rebirth, as long as we can keep them healed, they're gonna keep getting shields and they're gonna keep getting lifesteal. It's insane. insane. But that's the end of his skills. The truth is that he's not the most complicated of Saints that we've gotten recently, but he is going to be incredibly expensive, as you can see here, because the skill ups are necessary not just for him, but for his allies as well. If you don't have a Doku with really good skills, and you don't have, let's say, an Athena exclamation with really good skills, then the use you can get out of Shura diminishes. Now, the basic Shura is not extremely expensive, but his use is going to be limited to giving his allies double turns. That's really all he's gonna do. The first skill we're gonna take to level 2, and that's only so we can open the 8 cents. The second skill is going to remain at 1 because we're not focusing on his damage. He's only going to be a support. Therefore, the third one can stay at 1 as well because this is just a pretty weak AoE. While the last one is the skill we're gonna have to take to 5. If you want guaranteed double turns, this thing has to go to 5. The good news is that this basic Shura is only 11 tomes. Keep in mind though that he's not gonna contribute with a lot of damage. A slightly more evolved Shura is gonna see the first skill go to level 5 so that his double turn is guaranteed as well. The second one can stay at 1 again because we're gonna be using him to just spread bleed like crazy. The third one we're gonna keep at 1 because the damage is pretty mediocre, and the fourth one we already had at 5. That gives us a total of 20 tomes. Now, a really good Shura is gonna have skill 1 was on 5 already. Skill 2 we are going to take to 5 because we get 100% guaranteed that we do the additional super attack. Without that additional multiplier of 700%, it's extremely hard to eliminate an enemy. Skill level 3, guys, we can leave at 1, and really this is a matter of personal taste. You can bring it up a little bit if you want for the training. It's not going to make a huge difference because the multipliers are still quite low, so we're gonna say 1+ on this one, okay? If you want to level up, great. If you want to leave it at 1, that's great as well. The fourth one we already had at level 5, so this super Shura is gonna cost us 30+ tomes. Now, having said that, there is a secret mechanic that Super Loki found testing first in Sacred Duel, and then we were able to make it work. And what happens is that this second skill, even though it states that he has to kill with this skill so that he gets an additional attack, that's not entirely the case. If he happens to eliminate an enemy at the end of one of these even rounds with his passive, for some unknown mysterious reason, he's going to proc this secondary attack as well. It's not easy to do, it's going to be almost impossible to plan, but when it happens accidentally, then it's actually pretty cool because you're going to eliminate someone with this, which is great, and then if anybody else has bleed, he's going to hit them with this strong attack. It's not something you can rely on, but it is pretty spectacular when it happens. Over on the 8 cents, like most of the Saints that have come out lately, this guy is for PvP. I don't think we're going to be seeing him much in PvE. Therefore, we're going to have to open everything if we want any chance at surviving or doing any damage. The order that I would start on would be Alpha, which gives us physical attack and speed, then Gamma, which gives us physical attack and lifesteal, followed by Delta, which gives us HP and resistance to both types of damage, and lastly Beta, which just gives us a little bit more HP and status resistance, a stat that's not really used much anymore. Over on his Cosmo, we have 2 different possible builds. You could also shoot for something in the middle, but it's going to be hard then to get any use out of him. We can go full damage, which is what I've chosen to do because that's just what I do. In that case, the best option is going to be Branches, followed possibly by Viper and Blood Amber, kind of tight in second place. In the yellow, we're looking for survivability. Spirit Print and the Cross continue to be great options, though Morning Glory is not a bad option for him either because it does give him a lot of HP. Over on the blue, there is no discussion here, guys. Fortunately, this one is pretty easy. For physical attackers right now, even if we're going for tankiness, the option is Naga Pros, okay? It increases our damage with the physical defense spears, and it increases our tankiness with the HP and physical resistance. Now, over on the legendary, this is where things get very complicated because, like we mentioned, he can play a support role, but he can also do a lot of damage like you're gonna see today. So, you're gonna have to decide if you want to go Bruto style and just destroy things, or if you want to go more support, more tankiness so he survives longer. If you're going for Bruto style and you want to try to one-shot things with his second skill, then Vulcan Chain is by far the best option because of this 40% boost. Felina is really decent as well, but with Felina we have a small problem. The condition is that he can't use energy. That's okay, we can do a basic, apply a bleed, then we move again, and then we do the strong skill. However, if we kill somebody with that strong skill, then on the secondary attack, Felina is not going to activate because he just used energy. So it gives us a slightly bigger boost on the first attack, but no boost at all on the second one. Vulcan Chain, on the other hand, does apply as long as the enemy has almost full HP. Black Widow is also a very decent option because it gives you physical attack as a primary stat. It also increases your damage when you lose HP, and it's very likely that the enemy is gonna focus you. Now, the drawback is that if you don't lose HP, then you get nothing at all. If you like that mechanic, Black Widow is a good option, and even the classic Daffodil as well. The problem with Daffodil is that it gives us HP instead of physical attack. Also, depending on the speed you want to have on him, there's another couple of attackers, but there's so many options right now. If you want to play him slow, you could go Two Horn State. If you want to play him really fast, you could go with Heaven and Earth, or if you want to go full tankiness, you can go with Fuchsia, but again, keep in mind, you can't make him fast. In substats, we're gonna be looking for a little bit of everything, guys, because he's gonna need physical attack if we want him to do damage, even though the damage from bleed is actually based on the enemy's HP. I personally love using his second skill to eliminate 2 targets in one movement. For that, you need physical damage. That's what's gonna do the damage and not the bleed. In order for him to survive, we're also gonna need a little bit of tankiness, so HP and defense are gonna increase those odds of staying alive, while speed, as always, does play an important role in this game. Usually the attacker that moves first wins. Moving on to his teams, this is going to be one of the easiest units to explain what he combines with. He is extremely limited in his use because he depends entirely on bleed. Even if you want to use him as a nuker with his second skill, you're still going to need an ally to help you apply bleed. The maximum that he can apply is once per round, right? With his basic, then we have to attack a unit with bleed, so if we kill someone and we don't have anybody else with bleed, then the secondary attack is not going to activate. That means you need at least one partner. The options for those partners are going to be, in first place, his best combination, Doko. Divine Doko is an absolute monster, spreading and detonating bleeds. Athena Exclamation is a very good option as well because he can apply bleed with Milo, but you also get a lot more utility from the exclamation. Lastly, there's the regular Milo, which can work, guys. This unit can work. Yes, it can still in some cases do damage, but it's not ideal. Just like any saint in the game, if you build a team around him, you give him good Cosmo, there's a chance that he works, but if you have the exclamation and Doko, then you're never going to use Milo. Even if they ban the exclamation, you're still probably just going to go with Doko and Shura and then some other attacker and support. As far as protection, he is actually quite squishy. He has a C in life, an A in physical defense, and an A in cosmic defense. Protection is good for him. That can be Shion Sapuri, it can be Divine Shun. You could also just hide him and prevent the enemy from focusing on Shura, and if you combine him with Saori and June, then there's a very good chance you can stay alive. Because of the double turn mechanic, he also pairs really well with Alone. If you have a couple of units with bleed that can move twice in that first round, it's almost guaranteed that Alone is going to transform and be able to do something at the end of the first round. Usually that's not easy to do because you need double turn units. With the addition of this bleed mechanic, the number of double turn units expanded. Lastly, a combination that can be pretty fun if you just want the enemy to die on its own is with Lune, where you would give the buff to Doko, have Doko use 2 basics, and then start AoEing with his dragons, which only cost 1 energy. You're going to be spreading bleeds and burns like crazy. The enemy will literally just die of old age. His weaknesses in the game are going to be first and foremost the cost. Not just to build him, but to build the team that he goes well with. Doko needs a ton of tomes, including leveling up the basic skill. Athena Exclamation needs the first skill on level 5 if we want to apply those bleeds with Milo guaranteed. So when you think about skilling him up, it's not just the 30 tomes that you need to make him look like this, it's the 40 plus tomes you need for the exclamation and the other 20 plus tomes you need for Doko. The second weakness, like we mentioned, is the squishiness. He's pretty easy to one-shot, and if Shura dies, then the whole bleed team kind of falls apart. He's the one that has the passive that gives him 2 turns. If Shura dies, there's no more 2 turns, and it's going to be extremely hard to win with just 1 movement. In specific units that counter him, we have Arayashiki. He can cleanse the burns, get double turns, get buffs, and then destroy us. There's also Orphe, because with his Serenade, he's gonna be dealing damage every time we move. If all of our bleed team is moving twice, that is a massive amount of damage. Though, speaking about Orphe, we did find out something very interesting today. If you have Black Widow or Daffodil, you can do a basic with Shura, which is going to trigger damage from Orphe and get him low, and that way you immediately take advantage of the full buff. Now, be very careful though. There are some Orphes out there that can kill you if they have 2 or 3 Serenades and Doko's buff. In weaknesses, there's also Thanatos. Remember, he can mark us with the eye. If we don't have enough energy to do anything but a double turn, that means we're gonna eat an eye right away. Lastly, I'm going to mention Mew, simply for the fact that he can't get burns. You're never gonna kill him that way. He also hits extremely hard against units that have a shield. And spoiler, his cloth repair just got announced in China. A unit that was meta from the day he came out until very recently, which we stopped seeing him a little bit, is going to make a gigantic comeback soon, and he does counter Shura. As for his uses in the game, unfortunately, like we said, he is going to be very limited. There's only a couple of units that combine well with him, so he's kind of a luxury unit in PvP. If they ban Doko, it's very likely that we're not going to use him, or we're just going to make our lives more difficult. So keep that in mind when you see the demonstration. It is amazing when it works, but it doesn't always work, and if they ban one of his partners, he kind of falls apart. The demonstration, though, is going to be an amazing fight that we did today, where we were able to see all of his mechanics in action. Except that little secret bonus that I told you of the attack after killing with the third, we weren't able to do that today. But we did use him Bruto style, as an attacker to destroy stuff with his second skill, and we also saw how amazingly he combines with Doko. I hope you enjoyed the fight, and I'll give you my final opinion on him at the end of the video. Shion and Pandora. See if we can kill something. What does this guy have? He's got Shion. Oh, maybe he lets me use Doko. No exclamation, no Saori. No exclamation, no Saori, but yes Doko. Yo, Radamantis, get the shit out of here. 3 energy, I have 5, really? Could this work? This is not gonna work, is it? This is not gonna work. Oh my god. There is 0 chance. Wait, Pisces have Cosmo? Oh, Pisces don't have Cosmo! Pisces don't have Cosmo! Oh, wait, guys. I thought I knew. I remembered taking his Cosmo off. Here we go. Oh, Artemis! Oh, Lord in heaven. Lord in heaven. Protect us from evil. Artemis with Ayakos. Who do we hide? This is Shura's show, okay? This is Shura's show. So, what we are going to do is we are going to try to get rid of this guy. Yeah, and oh, I have to hit the same one twice. That's okay. Hit the same one twice. All right, now he's gonna fly Shun. Watch, or Orphe maybe. Fly Shun. Fly. Right? He flies Shun for no protection, maybe. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, buddy? No, he flies Orphe for no damage. Okay, Orphe for no damage. All right. So we're gonna protect this guy. Although he's gonna get exercise. No, he has no energy. Yes, he has energy because of Doko. There's the buff. Oh! Shoo! One chance! One opportunity! Like the Eminem song! It's now or never, Shura! Yes! Yes! Take Thanatos too! Take his life! Take his life, Shura! Take his life, Shura! Sorry, I got really excited. His job is done. His job is done. He can go home now. Yeah, he can go home now. His job is done. Finito. Huh? That's Shura damage. Not the easiest way to use it, but that's Shura damage. Holy crap, she's gonna reset alone probably. Shuration Power Station, yeah. Reset alone, of course. Reset alone. But I don't think I can lose anymore, can I? I don't think I can lose. Yeah, and that was without Hephaestus chain, but I had life loss from Orphe. Yeah? So maybe Black Widow against an Orphe, really good. You do basic, and if you survive, you get the full buff. Full buff. Yeah, now we go with double Doko, which is the other way you use him. Double Doko, spread that bleed like it was the plague. Yeah, spread that bleed like it was a plague. You do it again. And I still have enough energy for another Shurasu, I think. Yeah? There we go. A perfect fight for the demonstration. We're getting to see Doko with his dragons and also Shura. Wait, I don't have the Tonfas yet. Oi! We're not out of the woods. Wait. We're not out of the woods yet. Let's protect the star of the show, okay? Protect the star of the show. Oof. And we should be able to kill another 2 characters here. I have the 3 energy thanks to Doko. Yeah? We should be able to kill another 2 here. Another double combo. Combo! Who do we kill first? This guy. Oh, we can do one basic first. This guy. Yeah? You can do basic, and then you go for the strong attack. We should kill 2 again. Oh, wait! Does he kill somebody else because of the ghost? Oh! Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I thought he wasn't gonna do it. Oh, he kills Ayakos. Okay. He kills Ayakos. But now I have no energy. Did I just heal him? I think I did. Whoa, vacation! Whoa, Oh, Shunation! Woo! GG, brother! GG, my friend. Thank you. Good fight, man. It's perfect for the demonstration. Can I kill with this? Maybe? I don't have a lot of HP, though. Maybe we don't kill. Oh my god, why is this guy still alive? Die, please. Thank you, GG, man. That was a great fight. GG, whoever that was. Zero Max. Thanks, man. Good fight. And that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope the review is useful. I hope you enjoyed that fight. I am enjoying playing with him, but I hope that they introduce more characters with bleed in the future. Another great idea somebody in the chat mentioned is a legendary Cosmo, which gives any unit the chance to apply bleed. That could be pretty broken. As of now, he is kind of a luxury unit. You're only going to use it in specific teams. It's not one of those jack of all trades like Thanatos where you just plug him in anywhere and he works. No, you're going to have to bring the Athena Exclamation or Doko, possibly all three of them, and even then it's not a guaranteed win. There's still a lot of ways to counter. If you're still summoning for him, then good luck. I hope you get him. I'm gonna say goodbye for today. So if you haven't already, please remember to hit like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you don't miss any videos, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye!